Nicksy, in terms of that match committee and selection, how close are you to narrowing it down? There are a few things you still need to get through training today to give you box to see who gets the final nod.
Yeah, we've still got a good session to get through. I think we've talked about it previously. We train pretty hard. We don't apologise for that. We believe that training hard's the way to get it done. So with that comes some risk around, getting through a session. So we won't name our 22 or 23 internally until we finish today's session, make sure everyone's right to go. We've got a few things that we're working through at the moment as well. Tex has had a back issue that he's coming. He looks pretty good this morning, so he'll get out and move around. We'll get a bit more of a gauge of that, but we might have to leave that one until nearly a game day decision. But there's a couple of guys too with Riley Thilthorpe going out that now have an opportunity and are ready to go. So we've got to make a decision in that space.
In terms of that with Tex, does he need to push himself in this session, or is it more take it?
No, it won't be. I doubt that he'll actually get involved in any of our look drill or the main session. He'll probably get moving on the sideline. And we'll give him, he's a professional, he's an experienced player. He's the one who knows best on whether he'll be right to play. And so in the end, we'll consult, we'll talk through it, but he'll make that decision on, is he going to make the team better on the weekend? And we'll leave that one really in his hands.
So what's it just go, Nicksy? Something in his maybe?
Just bending and lifting, and it is minor, but it's one of those things with a back where, you just slip a little disc and it takes a while to get through that and work your way back. So I think he's confident that he's going to be okay, but you just never know with these things how they recover. Sometimes it can come back pretty quick. I went through it my entire career. It's kind of frustrating, but I think, at the moment I'm reasonably confident that he'll get himself right. I know he's desperate to play.
So it's the backup ruck. Is that obviously one of the main issues? Is it Burgess or Gallant, or is it a left field sort of thing? Or?
No, it'll be one of those two that we'll look at, and that's really the positive out of all of this. These guys, both those players deserve the opportunity. Unfortunately, it comes through someone else's misfortune in Riley Thilthorpe, but that's the way the game works. We've got a squad mentality that the next one's ready to step up, and one of those two deserves the opportunity. At the moment, it's line ball, and we'll just see how we go through today's session and make the call on it.
So is that weighed on their ability as a backup ruck, or more of what they can do?
It will need that backup ruck, yeah. And so, Burgess has done a lot of that over his career, and Lockie Gallant has pinch hit at times for us. I know he's done it in a showdown, and so he can do that. It'll just be now a decision on not only the ruck, but where we're at from the rest of the game point of view.
If it's a line ball call, would you maybe to the side of the guy who's played a lot of football at this part of it?
It'll be one that as I said, we haven't locked it away, but we have an idea of where we might head with that. We'll just see how we get through today's session.
How impressed have you been with Chris in his first pre-season?
Yeah, really impressed. I think he came in day one. We knew what we were getting. There was, as we've said before, we're reasonably targeted with the way we add to our list. He came in day one and had respect of the group straight away. He's a worker. He's probably been unlucky not to have an opportunity at his previous club, but for different reasons. They're a strong footy club, the Gold Coast. From a talent point of view, they've got some really talented forwards, so it's been hard for him to break through there. Led the goal kicking in the VFL, and so he's played some really high level footy. We felt there might be an opportunity at the club here, and we'll see whether that plays out this week. Did
you go up to the Gold Coast, or did you just watch it from home?
No, I watched it from home last weekend.
What were your impressions?
Oh, look, they follow on from where they've been. They're super impressive when it comes to the contest and stoppage, and they dominated that, put the game away in the first half. It was quite, I guess, scary to watch in the first half when you see Rao doing what he can, and Anderson and Miller and these guys. They've got, I'd say they've got an elite on-ball group that give them first use, and if you don't at least match it in that area, then you're going to find yourself in trouble. So, we took a lot out of the game. It was a tough one to look at because it was sort of up and down. Richmond had their chances as well and got runs on. So we'll go up there. It'll be a really good first hit out for us. Really big challenge playing on their home deck.
Matt Rowell, what do you do about him? 20 clearances in the game, second most ever.
Yeah, it's a pretty good effort. I mean, he obviously stood out. It's not new though. He's done that now since he first came into the game. He's a high draft pick for a reason, and he's pretty hard to stop. But we go in with a team mentality. That's how we've played our footy. We'll have a plan B and a plan C depending on how things play out. But we'd like to think we get that done as a team. But you've got to be ready with another option, if he does get off the chain.
How settled are you in your mind on your back six at the moment, given you've had Tom leave, you've got Muzz out and Keane obviously had the knock during pre-season. Do you have a rough idea, a pretty strong idea of what that looks like?
Yeah, I thought, well, it's not really a back six. We're talking about sort of back 7 or 8, 9 players at the moment that we're working through that space. Again, that's the squad mentality we go with. We're going to need those players across the year. The season's 23 rounds or 24 rounds. We play 23 games. We're going to play more than 6 guys through that back line, more than 7. Positive for us is we've got guys that are sort of ready to go. Will Hamill's probably playing some of his best footy at the moment. Now, whether he gets an opportunity round 1, it's probably at this point he won't play round 1. Wayne Miller has sort of put his hand up and said, I'm ready to go, and Brodie Smith's got a lot of experience. We've got a leader of our group in Hinge who's coming off probably his best season last year. So it's pretty hard to come into that group, but things happen. Injuries occur, different things play out, opposition. We'll need these guys at a point, and it's similar with our talls. Even this weekend, we'll still have to make a decision around which talls we do go with and why we do that, depending on the matchup.
In terms of your contract out of contract at season's end, I'm assuming something you would have liked to have had done before the start of the home and away season. So where is that at, and are you hoping it's done soon? It'd be nice to have a contract done, but at the same time, it hasn't been the focus for me or the footy club. The focus has been about the off-season, preparing, improving on last year. It's still not really the focus at the moment, but conversations being had. And there's no panic around that. Right now we're preparing for round 1. We've had a pre-season or an off-season where we've had a fair bit to work on. So I know you talk about the priority would be for me. That's not the case. This is about us getting right. We want to perform this week. That'll look after itself. And I'm confident we're on the same page from a point of view of what I'm looking for in the future and what the footy club wants. Tim Silver's put on the agenda at the AGM a few weeks ago that its finals are a must. That's the expectation this year that has to happen. So is that added pressure on you as it being out of contract? It is a difficult draw to start the season. Is it added pressure on you to perform being out of contract and not having a little bit of a safety net there, I guess?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, there's a lot of expectation out there, as there should be. We're coming off a year where we're confident we improved. We're confident we're going to do that again. We have expectation on ourselves, but at the same time, you've got to earn the right to play finals footy. And we've seen how even the competition is. You talk about a draw being hard. There's no easy games. The game is now so balanced as far as the competition goes. It's pretty hard to pick a top 8. Nearly every team puts up their case of why they should be playing in that. So you've got to earn the right to get in there. That's where we're at the moment. We're a young side still. We're still developing our way through, but we're going to embrace the expectation of where we want to finish. Of course, we want to, like every other team, play finals footy. But the big one is we start this weekend. We go up against a team that's in pretty good form, and so we're going to have to earn that right.
That relaxed stance on the contract stuff, is that just sort of down to mutual love? Would you sort of expect to be judged on 4 years of coaching rather than, let's say, 3 or 4 rounds?
Yeah, look, it's a confidence that we're on the same page. And I'm pleased that that's where it sits, and I'm confident that that's something that will look after itself. It's not the priority right now. I'm confident that will play out.
Just in general, Matthew, without the couple of injury worries, do you feel best prepared entering a season than you've been in terms of, I think you've spoken before, the game plan's now embedded and that type of thing. Do you feel best prepared that you have been in your time here?
Yeah, I would say our playing group's in the best position I've seen them in. They've really run this off-season and pre-season. We've brought a few new players into the club, obviously through the draft, and we mentioned Burgess coming in, and they've been able to educate the new guys,
they've been able to run a lot of this pre-season, and so that gives you confidence as a coaching group that your players are going to be able to do it in the moment. And really that's the key to footy, is that ability to be able to control the moment. I think the teams that were there last year fighting it out, that was their weapon. Collingwood especially, they ended up getting the job done. There were so many moments in the season where they were able to get it done. It's been our work on. We lost, a lot of games by under a kick. You can be so close yet so far away. So we've had a pre-season that gives me as a coach a lot of confidence in our group. We've got some really good, strong young leaders coming through. But you don't know until you get under the bright lights. And we haven't experienced that yet. We've had a couple of pracky matches where we've ironed a few creases out from the first one, performed well in the second. Now we've got to go and do it when the bright lights come on.
Is it fair to say it almost wasn't the bright lights that was the problem last year? It was almost the away games without the bright lights. You won 2 games on the road. How big a focus has that been?
Yeah, and there's a lot of detail in behind that as well. We've at no point have we panicked about our away record. We played some of the top sides, top 4, when we had those away games. At big venues, at the MCG, we were in a lot of those games, didn't take our, the opportunities maybe when we had to, and we talk about those key moments. So by no means was our away form poor. We do like a big stage. I know our group enjoy that. We've got a lot of players that like to perform and like to put a show on. We embrace that, we want to continue to be that, but we have to be better in key moments. We've got to be, when the game's there to be won, I guess our challenge this year is to get it done.
Having that more settled lineup, is that a luxury in that you might not need to blood someone like Dan Curtin who comes in with so much talent and you don't necessarily need to throw him straight in there?
Yeah, it's a good call. I mean, we've, the cohesion we've built up now with our 22 or 25 players, 26 that have played across the years. Cohesion being playing together, not just getting games into individuals. They've actually played alongside each other. That gives us some confidence, But we're still inexperienced when it comes to our cohesion behind the ball, and we're working through it at the moment. Mark Keane's, obviously he's going to be a fantastic key position defender, and he's still learning the game. So there's so much more upside. Ball Ace has sort of taken his game to another level as well. But hasn't played a lot of footy alongside Jordan Butts, for example. So there's still some challenges in that space. But yeah, no doubt, your point's a valid one. We don't need to throw Dan Curtin in too early. And we'll be extremely mindful of how we do that. We want to make sure he's ready for that step up.
I think Scott Burns said last week that as good a pre-season as Sam Berry's had, there might still be 1 or 2 midfielders ahead of him. Is that how it sits heading into round 1, Willie?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, whether they're ahead of him or not. I think Sam Berry at the moment with his form in the pre-season, he plays round 1. And of course we want to get through today's session and make sure he's fit and ready to go. It's not necessarily that someone's ahead of him. He's an important part of our midfield group. He's learnt from Matt Crouch over these years on how to play certain ways. He's learnt from Rory Laird on how to do it. Now, those guys have a lot more experience than Sam does. But he's no less important to our midfield group than what they are. We've looked at diversifying that group and adding some different dynamic through there with Isaac Rankin. Obviously Jordan Dawson gives us a different sort of player through there as well. So it's been something that we've probably been critiqued on for a number of years, is we need a certain style of midfield. I think we've got a really strong group and diversified group that's going through there at the moment, which Sam's an important part of.
Solly, how much did that ankle injury set him back? Just from watching training, feels like he's sort of been with the twos for a bit of the last few weeks.
Yeah, more so when you watch training, it's hard because we can play 18 players. So normally you've got the 22 or 3 that would play on the weekend. So someone like Solly, even Sam Berry, is often in the white jumpers, or not the probables team. But no, I think Solly's a big part of the future of this footy club. It did set him back, the ankle. So, being out of the game for a few weeks, we'll make sure we get that decision right. But in time, Jake Saligo's going to be a really important piece in what we're doing.
Well, if we just clarify the text, does he have to do anything, or you just trust him to make the call? Do you need to see anything?
Oh no, we would, we'll watch him physically and we'll help him with that decision. But ultimately, he knows where he's at. He's passionate, and so we've got to be careful in that space. He'll want to play because he doesn't want to let his team out. So he wants to be out there. He just loves playing footy, but we'll help him with that decision.